Namaste everybody. Today we are going to talk about looking good shoes. I like to look good. Okay, now this is quite a common and prevalent pair of shoes that people tend to wear in our day and age because there's so much social pressure to look a certain way, especially for women. And even now that's overflowing into the men category as well, you know, what we look like, how we present ourselves, and even, you know, there's an emphasis of, quite often, dare I say, not good enough, so therefore I feel like I have to change the way that I actually am in order to look good to the world, in order to feel accepted and loved and appreciated. And this is one of the dynamics that I am looking to change with this shoe psychology, because this is a beast that is getting out of control, and we need to sort of, I feel like, rein it back in to get back to the basics of being happy within ourselves, knowing who we really are, understanding that this is who I am and I'm not going to change it to fit in just to get the acceptance of a whole bunch of people that probably don't get me anyway. So it's getting that mental readjustment on a conscious level, where we actually are aware that this is how we have been caught up in this socialized, pressurized way of living. And it does worry me when I see the level of social media emphasis on our young kids coming through, the younger generation. They're getting to that point where it's like, I have to look a certain way, you know, and it affects how they eat and how they behave, and how, you know, it's all about the false nails and the eyelashes and everything. You know, fine if you really are genuinely comfortable and that sort of thing, but most of the time I find that people are doing all that adaptation in order to get some level of acceptance. And I just would love to have it where it's like, you know, if you don't want to do that, then you're comfortable saying, do you know what, that's just not for me, and I'm okay with that. And that's where I'd like to help a lot of up and coming, and even the older generation have bought into it a lot as well. I see a lot of, you know, the ladies as they move into, you know, their midlife crisis years or whatever, adapting, changing, you know, trying to handle life a bit better. And I feel that if I only look better, then therefore I would be more attractive, and therefore I would get the love, or I'd be more accepted in that crowd or whatever. And it's like, well, do we really want to be in that crowd to begin with, if that's the criteria that they have stipulated that you need to have in order to be part of that? You know, maybe it's that we actually go, no, this is, you know, this is me, this is who I am, and this is how I operate. So everybody's so busy looking good. My looking good shoes, I call them. And one of the things that I find that it really affects are people who are, in neuro-linguistic terms, because I'm an NLP coach, I'm a master practitioner, and one of the things that I look for is whether they are internal frame of reference or external frame of reference. So I'll just explain what that is. An internal frame of reference person, they are unaffected by what people think of them. They don't, it's their own criteria, it's their own judgment, that their own criteria that they need to meet within themselves in order to feel that they're doing a great job, or they are acceptable, or they look good, or whatever the case may be. And it's irrespective of what anybody else around them actually have. Now, in a way, yes, that's good, but one of the challenges for the internal frame of reference person is that they do tend to lack empathy. They find it very hard to step into somebody else's shoes and go, oh, I get where they're coming from, I understand how they might feel, and this is, you know, how I need to change and adapt in order for me to understand and for them to feel comfortable. They do really, really struggle with it, and quite often they just can't do it at all. So depending on how far again they are into that internal frame of reference, it makes quite a big difference. So one of the ways that you can test to see whether they're internal frame of reference or external is ask them how they know they've done a good job. And they will say things like, you know, I just know that I did, or, you know, I know that I had to have it done by this time and had these points ticked off, which I did. So therefore I did a great job. And there's no need for a manager to have said, yes, you've done a fantastic job, or to have any awards, or they don't need any of that. The internal frame of reference person doesn't even need any of that criteria to be checked off. Now, an external frame of reference is where there is a need to impress and get recognition and validation from a whole bunch of people around them. So it will be that they need to have somebody actually say to them, well done, you've done a great job. It might be that they say, look, wow, you look fantastic today. And you go, oh, wow. So I've put all this effort into how I look and how I present myself, and I have now been validated and accepted by some form of external source. So it'll be something that they see, they hear, they feel, or it might be a combination of, any of those. So it's really important. Some people are more extreme in the external frame of reference than others. I often find that can be accentuated by stress, trauma, any sort of overwhelm, upheavals, breakdowns in relationships. They need more of whatever it is that they're expecting or needing to get that validation that perhaps, they originally may not have needed as much. So do be aware of that. It does depend on the circumstances, but it's very much where the issue that comes in for an external frame of reference person is that they disempower themselves because they are putting all the power outside of themselves. So they're waiting for somebody else to say or do or give or whatever it is that they need to have in order to feel like they have met the criteria, and therefore they are acceptable and they are validated. So one of the things that is really useful for training is in coaching is that sometimes I try and get that person to shift from far one extreme of the external frame of reference to try and adopt a bit of the internal frame of reference stuff, where it's like where we can literally go, let's check, have an internal checking criteria. Do I need to actually make those physical changes in order to be accepted? Do I really want to be accepted by those kind of people? And if they are making demands of me that make me feel uncomfortable, that when I go internally you can feel the friction, you can feel the discord, you can feel that just doesn't sit right with you. And when we check with our internal gauge to go, I don't want to do that. I don't want to behave in that way. I don't want to do whatever it is. We then have to learn how to say, look, all due respect, no judgment here. It's your thing, but it's not mine. And I'm genuinely okay with that. And, blessings and love and everything going your way as you choose to carry on doing this path your way. However, my path is this. So it's my shoes and then my path and my way again. So this is where, it's the who am I, and let's get clear about, what are those things? What are those external frame of reference things? What are those in terms of shoe wearing? An external frame of reference, it might be that, certain people all wear, stilettos. I'm getting really basic here, and they all go out and they're all teetery-tottering, and it's like, that is just, so uncomfortable for someone like me. I don't really like really high shoes, wearing them on a long-term basis. It just is so uncomfortable, and I'm not really going to do it just for the approval of somebody else. But it doesn't mean that I don't love those people any less that do wear stilettos. Do you know what I mean? So it's I'm comfortable in my own skin, and I'd love to have it where more women are exactly the same. It's just even down to something simple like Crocs. So like my daughter, unbelievably, she's 11, and we're the same shoe size already. And I thought, I'll just move her Crocs from one place to another, and they've got those massaging little spiky things that come out of the base of the sole of the shoe, and honestly I find that so uncomfortable. That just doesn't work for me. But she loves it and she's comfortable in it, and it works for her and her friends. Now there's no judgment. She loves it, the shoe fits, wear it. That's the saying, right? Okay. And it's the in thing. It helps her feel part of her crowd. It's not part of my crowd, but even if it was part of my crowd, I would be just going, I just don't like it because of those spiky things. They just don't work for me. Now there might be Crocs out there that don't have that. Would I wear them? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know, you know, but I'm clear in what I will do and what I won't do, what shoes I do wear and what shoes I won't. And I don't, I try not to compromise. And when I do, and sometimes it happens, you know, you go, how about that? I compromised the way I would normally have reacted in order to what? To get accepted, to get recognition, to feel significant, to get love, to whatever the things are. And then go, you know, go away, meditate on it, go, you know, that I wonder why I actually did that. Investigate it, question it, and it could be the simplest of things, but it can actually govern quite a large part of your life. So I think breaking that mold, breaking that expectation of what's expected and demanded sometimes of us is, you know, it's a new era, it's a new age, it's a new day. It's our chance to go, look, I'm doing my self-examination. It doesn't have to be big, bold statements. You know, you don't have to go super rebellious and, you know, go against the norm or anything like that. That's to the point where you're demonstrating and making everybody else's life a misery. None of that. You can do this really quietly on the side. You can take this exercise away now. That I would like you to tell me is, what do you think you are? Are you internal frame of reference or are you external frame of reference? So another question that I sometimes ask is, like, just keeping it in sync with that job scenario, how do you know when you've done a good job? And they'll say something like, because my boss will tell me, or he will, or I'll get an award, or the team will say. So it might be something that they see or say or feel. It might be that someone patted them on the back and said, you know, thumbs up, well done. So it's getting clear on which one are you, which shoe type. You know, you're looking good shoes. Unfortunately, everybody's, you know, racing around in our modern day environment trying to make everybody else, they're so busy looking at themselves, trying to make themselves look good to everybody else to get that validation, that, you know, actually, if you think about it, at the end of the day, if everybody's so busy doing that, then who's actually looking at them? So there's a certain irony in it to me for going to such lengths. So let's get clear for you. Which one are you? Which one? Put it down in the comments box. I think I'm an internal frame of reference, or I think I'm an external frame of reference, or, you know, maybe you can come up with an example and you'd be prepared to share it in the Facebook group page. So hop on over. You're very welcome. None of this costs anything. And it's just bite-sized information that will help you create a shift that will enable you and empower you on your journey to wear your own shoes, going on your own path, going in the right direction that you want to go in, with a group of like-minded souls that are there to help and support you on your journey. And now, if that sounds fantastic, please thumbs up, subscribe. And if you're open to sharing this video with somebody, another lady that you think that this could make a wee bit of a difference to, I'd appreciate you passing that on. Anyway, you have a delightful day, and thank you for joining me once again. Namaste.